Hi, folks. It is now week 4 of the season. 3 weeks are in the books, and I am ready to start Precious Power Rankings. And we're going to start with the RDFL, the Auction League, for those of you who aren't uh, really with it on which name is which league. Um, and, I was very diligent in note taking here. I don't know if you can see, but I've got some notes written down here um, about which teams and what their players, did over the past few weeks, and you know all kind of crazy garbage. But the truth of the matter is that none of this really even fucking matters. Um, what does matter is that I'm dropping 160 every week, and most of you are just cannon fodder for me. Um, we've got niggas in Paris, number 14. I mean, another injury to a first round pick for Mr. Altman. Uh, your season's pretty much done, bro. You might as well just quit. I know you will when Call of Duty comes out in November anyway. The Slingers, number 13, Reggie Bush. Come on, really? You have a freaking reality star starting at wide receiver for your team based on his last week. And this is why people like Roy just get on you about your fantasy football knowledge. Just because he had one good week last week, now we're starting him. Like, what is that? It's garbage. We have the Abyssians, who, instead of picking all the Seahawks players this year, picked all the Saints players, which isn't really that bad of a strategy, considering that, their offense is actually good, unlike the Seahawks. But at the same time, you can't have one team's offense as your entire lineup. It just doesn't work that way. You're looking to maximize. You need to mix and match. So, unfortunately, Abyssians, you will remain mediocre again in fantasy football. Number 12. That's where you are at. Number 11, Ghetto University. Treg, man, you scored some points this week, but unfortunately you ran into the juggernaut that is the Scumbags. So, better luck next week, bro. You're 0-3 anyway. I mean, you might as well just give up as well. The Solids at number 10. You have Sean Green, who is just a joke. I know this because I have him in the Keeper League. Also, we have Drew Brees and Cam Newton on the same team. Both really good quarterbacks. However, starting Cam Newton over Drew Brees is just a bad move for a number of different reasons. Drew Brees has a more classic delivery, as I like to say, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Akron struggle. Your team is all right. I like what I see. I like Jay Cutler, mainly because he's a white guy with diabetes. He used to be fat, and he lost like 60 pounds over the course of the offseason somehow. But his offensive line is just going to get him killed. So, eventually you'll be looking for another quarterback. The Kevorkian irony comes in at number 8. You had 2 players who didn't play this week, so you need to really pay attention to what the fuck is going on, or else you'll be stuck right here, right in the mid-card, right where we want you, baby. Number 7, McGiblet's Mascots. You got Matt Hasselbeck starting at quarterback now this week after several failed weeks of Colt McCoy and Donovan McNabb. Need I say more? I don't really think so. You got Lloyd and Fitzgerald, whose quarterbacks probably are no better than Roy Arujo. So, really, their value's taking a hit there, and it'll be difficult for you to climb out of the mid-card as well. At number 6, we've got the Help Me Blades. Actually, honestly, Kyle, I was probably going to rate you higher, but, you've just been rubbing me the wrong way in both these leagues, and I really felt really good to put a fucking beat down on you last week in this league. You've got good bench depth, but your starters are all just fucking middle of the pack. Nobody really cares about them. They're pretty much interchangeable. They're mediocre all around, so, whatever. You'll end up somewhere in the middle at the end of the year. Tokyo Tides, my good friend Kevin. Actually, this team could do some things because they have Steve Smith and Mike Thomas, who are the only viable targets on their teams. And then he also has Ryan Matthews and Matt Forte, who are like two of the probably top 5 backs going into the rest of the season. So I would actually be afraid to face them. At number 4, we have the White Vicks, who had a rough week, but the team is balanced except for Beanie Wells. You need to get him right the fuck out of here. He's awful. I mean, I know he probably scored a lot of fantasy points in week 1 and week 2, but he's fucking terrible. Like, I just don't like him. I just don't like him at all. Number 3, the Canton Immortals. Your team is winning despite everyone on your team having injuries, like Miles Austin, Hakeem Nicks, Antonio Gates. I don't know how long you're going to be able to keep that up for, especially when you're not even really a man. You spend most Sundays like playing basketball in some rec league and like playing scrimmage soccer rather than watching fucking football games. So, I mean, how good can your knowledge really be? Your ranking of 3 is like a ceremonial thing. You'll drop off in the coming weeks. I'm sure of it. Number 2, I'm going to have to put the Nick Men, who have LaShawn McCoy and Matt Ryan, which, you know, on paper looks pretty good. LaShawn McCoy is actually probably the best back to have in fantasy football, as he does it all, and he gets a lot of touches. Matt Ryan, on the other hand, is just garbage. Just garbage. He's probably the only soft spot on your whole roster. I know that everyone wants to have him because I don't. They hype him like he's something, but really he's terrible. And he's got Roddy White, who, you know, drops a lot of passes on his team. So yeah, that's just not good. And at number 1, of course, you have my team, the South Coast Scumbags. I bet most of you were probably laughing during the auction draft when I picked up Matthew Stafford, and when I picked up Fred Jackson, and when I picked up LaDainian Tomlinson, and Dexter McCluster also. Probably a lot of you were just ready to write my team right the fuck off. But guess what? That's why I'm fucking smarter than you are. Because my team is fucking dominant. And they will continue to be, dropping 160 to 180 on all you motherfuckers. And until one of you guys beats me, I mean, really, you don't have much to say about it. That's it for this week's edition of Precious Power Rankings. I will probably do one on the RAML later at some point. But it's probably going to look pretty much the same, at least the top 1 is, because I am fucking dominant in fantasy football, and none of you can fucking touch me. So, Eric, build that trophy, make it look real nice, and I will be ready to place it, probably on that mantle right behind me.